This is the Logitech MX Brio webcam. It's brand new and they call it their most advanced webcam yet. So here's what I'm gonna do for you. I'm gonna check out the camera itself. I'll talk about the hardware, the build of the camera itself, and then I'm gonna break down the features and the specs. I'll take an in-depth dive into that. And then of course, I'm gonna test the camera and show you what it actually looks like when you use it. And I'll compare it to the Brio 4K. I'll take it side by side, low light, daylight, so you can see what those cameras look like. Tech it before you wreck it. What's up, geeks? I'm Kirk, and we're gonna take a close look at the Logitech MX Brio webcam. This thing is pretty slick looking, and my first impression when I pulled it out of the box was, wow, it's got some weight to it, which is a good thing. It's got some heft to it. Logitech says it's made of low carbon aluminum, so that's the metal that you see on most of the housing. Now, on the back of the camera, there's actually plastic where the USB-C port is, probably to make that easier to actually put the guts in there and put a port in there. So it's mostly made of that aluminum, but there is some plastic on the back. You gotta see this. The shutter, the privacy shutter, when you wanna kind of close the camera, is built right in. So when you twist it, look at that. When you twist it, the shutter actually closes. Very, very slick looking. No more clumsy plastic covers to lose. You just twist it and it closes. You twist it and it opens back up. I gotta say, it feels very high end. And the lens on the inside is actually a glass lens. So that's gonna give you better optics and of course a better picture as well. Now you'll notice the USB-C port on the back. That's how you hook it up to your computer. You want to use a good heavy-duty USB-C cable. The one that came with it is perfect, although I thought it was a little shorter than it should be. On the bottom, what you'll notice is a standard 1/4-inch tripod mount. This is what you use if you're going to use this with a standard tripod, a GorillaPod. A lot of people that are going to buy a high-end camera like this might use it for something like this, so that makes sense. Now the mount that's included to put this onto your monitor is pretty interesting. It's got this little sticky pad, a reusable sticky pad. You pull the plastic off, you attach that to the back of your monitor, and then the camera itself simply kind of sits into the stand. The reason that sticky pad is important is because it needs that leverage when you use what they call show mode. That's a mode where you can take the camera and tilt it down to show your desk. It automatically flips the image so it seems right, and it's a great way if you're often showing stuff, showing and telling, maybe doing unboxings like I do here on the YouTube channel. Just an easy way to show something on your desk and then pop the camera back up to you. I'm not sure how many people will actually use this, but it's a nice option to have. All right, guys, let's break down some of the specs for the MX Brio webcam. It's got 3 fields of view. Depending on the mode you're in, it can do 65-degree field of view, a 78-degree field of view, and a 90-degree field of view. When I was using it in normal modes, it felt wide enough. It felt as wide as any webcam should feel in terms of how wide the image is. Now you've got 2 mics right there on the front of the camera. It uses beam-forming audio, try to give you better audio. In my testing, the audio was fine, pretty much what you would expect, to be honest, from a webcam. If you want better audio, you really got to get something like a lav mic, like I have right here, or some sort of wired mic to actually clip to your lapel if you're doing something more than just a normal work meeting on Zoom. Now, the sensor inside the 4K Ultra HD is a 4K sensor. It's 2160p. It goes at 30 frames a second. Now, it can do 60 frames a second, but you're gonna have to knock the resolution down to 1080 if you wanna get that smoother frame rate. So Logitech is promising better face visibility with the MX Brio when compared to the Brio 4K. They specifically compared it to the Brio 4K, and it's obvious this is the successor to the Brio 4K. They're talking about better performance in low light when it comes to your face. They call it AI face-based image enhancement. So talk is cheap. I mean, those features are great, but talk is cheap. Let's put it to the test because what really matters is what the video looks like when you use it.
So here's a sample of video from the MX Brio. I haven't adjusted any settings. This is out of the box in a dark lit room, similar to what somebody might be using at home. I do have a desk lamp sort of pointed in my direction, but there's no studio lighting in here or anything special. Let me compare this to the Brio 4K. Of course, this is an older camera, but this has become a standard for good web cameras, but you can see the difference. It's a much different picture. And let me throw this up side by side. The MX Brio on the right there, the Brio 4K on the left. You can see how much more washed out my blue shirt is with the Brio 4K, and look at the details on my face and such. You can see a lot more detail and a lot more contrast with the MX Brio. Clearly clearly there's some processing going on or just a better sensor that can handle this dark light situation. Same room, I've got the same blue shirt on, and I wanted to show you this during the day with the advantage of daylight. So that low light capability of the MX Brio doesn't really have an effect here. And you'll notice compared to the Brio 4K, here's the Brio 4K. The Brio 4K is older, but it does perform better during day than it does during night. But there's no question, when you put it side by side, you can see the MX Brio is an improvement from Logitech. Specifically, when you look at the detail in my face, look at the detail in the wall over my shoulder here. You can actually see the texture on the wall, whereas in the older Brio 4K, you just can't make that out. That's a huge difference.
All right, so my 2 cents on the MX Brio, a $200 webcam. By the way, the link is in the description if you're trying to find a place to buy it. I like this camera. I like it a lot. I like the build of the camera itself. It definitely feels heftier and tougher than the Brio 4K, which is what I'm comparing it to, because that really is the predecessor to the MX Brio. In terms of software, the software works great. You've got a lot of granular adjustments you can make, and more importantly, you saw the images. The images are better in daylight, but much, much better in low light situations. I saw more detail in the picture. I saw better low light performance in that. So if you're looking for a high-end web camera, listen, there are web cameras out there for 50 bucks, 75 bucks, $100, heck, Logitech sells a lot of them. But if you're looking for a higher end web camera, maybe you do Zoom calls for work every single day, or maybe you want to record video blogs with your web camera, this is a great option. $200 I don't think is a crazy price for a quality webcam that shoots 4K video and gives you a better quality image than what you're gonna get with one of those budget webcams. Again, the link is in the description if you wanna find a place to buy it. And more importantly, I wanna hear your comments. Are you buying the MX Brio? What specifically are you planning to use this for? What made you choose this webcam over others? Comment below, subscribe to the channel. We have a lot more cool videos coming out. And if you missed the unboxing of the MX Brio, you can check that video out right here on Tech It Before You Wreck It. I'm Kirk.